Hello and welcome. Yeah, I just had one of those moments where I'm like, I got 2 minutes, and then I started on my phone, and then I was like, realized that I don't know how long the timer was saying, here we go, because I wasn't paying attention. But hey, welcome. Hello. Thank you for coming. Today, we are going to continue our extravaganza, or work on the app that powers our settings page for our plugin. That's what we are working on today. I did a bit of digging into data stores over the past couple days to kind of get it figured out for myself why I could not get those controls and resolvers and all that stuff working. So I have that working now, but we're going to go through that. Also learned this new thing. I was aware of it in intellectually, the concept of what they were, but the concept of Thunks, which is hilarious. The name is hilarious. JavaScript has got the funniest names for anything. There's like a tuple and a thunk. Next will be like a kazifit, a flux capacitor. Like, God, who knows? Anyhow, but I don't think I'm going to dive into Thunks today. I read about this stuff. I'm going to switch my coding screen here. So if we look over here, which is probably not zoomed in enough, I was reading about this today. So this is Thunks and data stores in WordPress. Oh man, I got to change my chat settings there. It's a little bit light. Anyhow, Thunks allow us to do cool things, write less code, and not have to worry about resolvers and controls, I believe. I'm going to do a bit of digging on this. I think this might be something that I dive into like in its own stream. I think they're still experimental. I think you have to enable it in the data store to get them to work. But in theory, it looks like it does away with a bunch of code, because like your Thunk can dispatch and select all inside the one function, as opposed to having to do what we're doing, where we want to make a selection and the thing's not there, so we have to go to our resolver. Our resolver might have to dispatch an action and get data back. So I think Thunks are fun, and I think they'd be pretty cool. I want to understand them a little better before I start trying to show y'all how to use them. So I'm going to do a bit of digging, but that's one thing. And there is this might just be the the gist of the first link that I shared, but you can do a bit of reading on that. So I want to do a couple of things. I want to make some changes to our store. So what we're doing here is we're using use entity prompt to actually get the stuff from the database, and then we're kind of like setting it to our own store. And I kind of want to do away with all that. I want to have our store, the custom data store, handle everything. I don't want to deal with data outside of the store. Let's see if we can do it that way. So I'm going to walk us through that right now. So let's look in our selectors. I don't know if I have a selector. So in our selector, I have a selector called getSettings, right? And so this getSettings just returns the state. Well, I did actually find a bug last time that we need to change this, because in our settings we have kind of two pieces of settings. We have our actual settings that are appearing up here. So we have like the word count number, whether or not you need a featured image, and whether or not you need a category. And so that's represented by these. But then we're also storing, and this is actually another thing that I'm thinking about doing, is actually getting rid of this from our data store, because this is sort of separate, but it is and it isn't. It's only used one time when the page loads. But anyhow, so this is the stuff that actually gets saved to the setting that we created. Not in there. I'm sorry. It's the wrong one. If we look at our index here where we're registering our setting, we've only got these three items in here, right? So so we have this as well. So when we try to do stuff with it, it doesn't really work properly. So what I want to do is I want to be able to say, I'm going to destructure out the user preferences, and then I'm going to use the rest operator here to just pull the settings from state, and then just return the actual settings. So that's the first thing that I want to do there. And I'm just doing this to get rid of it. I mean, I could just go. I think this is probably the quickest way to do it. Is there another? I don't know if there's actually another way to do this where I can destructure, where I can just say, give me everything, but this is kind of the simplest way to do it. So this is going to give me everything in the state object that's not user preference. That makes sense. Cool. So that's the first thing that I wanted to do. The next thing that I want to do is because settings are pulled from the database. They're pulled from the database. I don't know why I'm saying it twice. So because state, when this loads, we won't have any of those settings available to us. What we're going to want to do is we need to create a resolver for that. So settings, and so when you have a resolver, it's named the same as the selector that works with it. And what we're doing here is making this a generator function, so we can use the yield keyword. That's it. And we're gonna basically just do this. We're gonna call the actions fetch settings. So if we look at actions, do we have a fetch settings up here? We do. So this is going to dispatch an action, right? And then what we have to do is when this gets dispatched, we need to introduce a control that handles that. So I'm going to just put some controls down here. Const controls. All right, and then so the way it works is the name of the why is that yelling at me? The name of the action becomes the name of the function that gets called. I'm going to, because we're using API fetch, I'm going to pull it in up here. So now what this should be doing for us, so if I console.log this now, we should see the data. Oh, not that. Come on, get out of here. Got that log settings. If I save this, oh, you know what? I'm not doing npm run start, npm start. I'm just going to get my build process running. Cool. And all right, so now let's go in here, and I'm going to just see where we're at here. Make sure nothing's broken. Console. That doesn't seem right. Settings is undefined. Okay. So the fetch settings gets called, and then controls I've got. Oh, you know why? I'm sorry. I didn't add my controls, so it doesn't know what to do with it. So I should be able to run this now. There we go. So you see we've got, if you can see, I don't know, that's not zoomed in nearly enough. Okay, so what I've just done is I basically just hit the settings API to get all of the settings, right? But we only need the one that we have defined, which is down here, pre-published checklist data, and this is all the data coming from the database itself. So what we need to do then is in our control, which is right here, we are going to return, what we're going to do is we're going to actually trigger an action in here where we're going, which I think we may even have it set up. Do we have one? Oh, sorry, where am I here? Init settings. So I'm going to trigger this in here. I'm gonna go to into my actions object. I'm gonna trigger an init settings, and then I'm not gonna trigger all this stuff. What I want to do is I want to basically just pass the name of the setting that we want, right? And then that's going to return that. So, init settings. So I just want to make sure I've got a little cheat sheet over here. State from database, okay. So init settings calls state from database. State from database is handled inside of our reducer right here. Right, and that's what that's going to do. So now, what this should hopefully do is this should automatically populate this stuff. And it is because, oh wait, and then we can test that in our settings screen. Because right now, what we want is we want to eventually get rid of this because we don't care about that right now. And we need settings from state. We need, basically, the only thing that we should have to use is this. We shouldn't need this anymore. And then I'm just going to get rid of this for now because we're going to change this function as well. But hopefully I refresh this. So everything came in as expected. So it's still working the way it should be. But now we've made our data store. We've decoupled our component from the data store beyond this call to our data store to get all the settings. So when it calls this, it's gonna retrieve all the settings that we need, and it's gonna make it work. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. I was also thinking that we don't necessarily need this default state because there are defaults. So we have some default values here that get returned. And so we don't even really need this default state. It's going to mess up our user preferences a little bit, but that's okay. So we could just do basically just this. I'm just going to comment this out in case we decide that we want it, and then we could just have our default state be an empty object, and this should still work no problem. I don't know what that's yelling at me for. Oh, it's an uncontrolled component. I don't know. I gotta figure out which one that is, but that is pretty much it for that. Cool. So that is a much simpler, quote unquote, simpler implementation on this end. So we don't need any of this stuff anymore. And I actually found a different way of saving. So if you remember, what we had to do was we had to like tell Gutenberg that the state has changed, and then we need to actually save it. Well, there's another function that we can call. Instead of that one called save edited entity record, we can just call save entity record. And what we're going to end up doing is passing it. What we're going to end up doing here is, instead of doing that, we are going to do this. We are going to pass root, site, and then we're going to set the option name. The option name, and then the data from settings from state, and then that will actually get updated. Now I did a bit of testing on this, and it looks like it will. It won't because the entity record itself is one object, but this seems like I don't need to be careful about replacing the other stuff. This just works, right? And so now we've super simplified this. We don't need this anymore. And let's see, I don't need the use effect. We don't need the entity prop. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. And then so this should all just work now. Let me just refresh this. And by work, I mean I should be able to have it completely break. All right. Well, let's see what's going on there. Why did that break? Did I cannot destructure property entity save? What? Weird. Am I pulling it from the wrong store? Let's look. No. Well, that's strange. All right, let's try this again. Weird. Okay, is save entity record on the wrong? I wonder if I'm pulling it from the wrong data store. I think I had to do this last time. We'll just see in a second. Yeah, I wonder if this is from the wrong store. That's weird. That's weird. Huh. Okay, so the error that I ran into was that it was saying that this was not defined from this store. And I wonder if there's a dependency issue. So I'm going to leave this in for now. Oh, wait a minute. Let's try. Maybe that's what I needed to do. Maybe I don't need to dispatch it that way. Let's see. This is interesting. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Let's make sure that this works. It does work. Okay, so I'm going to set that. I'm going to set this to whatever, 50. Save. Fresh. It didn't save. Okay. Well, let's put it back the way it was, like this. Okay, so maybe that was just some bad autocomplete stuff. Okay, so that did work. That did save that. So this is strange. Do I need this? I feel like I need. I wonder. That's really odd. I wonder if I need to do like Chordata. Is that? I don't know if that's actually a thing. Well, that seemed to work. Okay, so now let's comment this out and see if this. So that didn't actually save. Okay, I don't know what the deuce. I'm gonna just put it back the way it was. I'm gonna leave this in place, and I'm gonna figure out if that's an issue that I need to, like, if I'm just calling the wrong thing, maybe. Maybe that's it. But that does work. That does make it easier, I think. So let's put it in here. We'll say 50, and then we'll do a little refresh. Why is this is ridiculous? It saves and then it doesn't save. What's going on here? Okay, and now it saves. Weird. Anyways, cool. Okay, so that is a simplified version of our store. I'm gonna leave that in place because I think I need that. The other thing that I wanted to do is maybe deal with how we're handling. Where is that? In our reducer, we're doing this, and this is how we're handling user preferences. I'm not really a big fan of what I'm doing here. So in my data store, I figured out a couple of other changes. So the action here is, this is happening here, which is fine for now. I think I might change that. But what I actually ended up doing was adding another selector. Oh, actually, I already have it here. So to get user preferences, and then adding a resolver, which I already have. But changing it up slightly. Oh, I know what I did. I added a new action that handled some of this stuff. Where's that action? Set user preferences. I'm already doing all of this. Weird. Okay, well, maybe I don't need to change it then. Yeah, you know what? Let's leave it. It should be working now. So, oh, let me just get the npm start. Let me get this working. npm start. Just gonna go over here. So basically, when I have these toggled, they should persist. They should remember what I have selected. That's kind of the idea. So I'm gonna leave that in there. I think this is. I would like to learn more about some Thunks. And what did I not? Did I not save something? Better refresh this. Make sure it's still working. That's still working. Okay. It's a lot of words, but we'll do that. Okay, and then if I refresh this, this should be staying closed. This should also be staying closed. And this should be staying closed. Okay, cool. So that's that. I'm gonna hide this stuff now. Yeah, okay. So I think the next thing that I'm gonna do is make this a little. This is getting a bit. I feel like this is getting a bit much, in the sense of like code and files and everything. I'm gonna do a bit of restructuring. I'm gonna create a directory called datastore, which I will move the datastore into, and then I'm gonna make this index. And yeah, sure. And I'm going to create a new file called constants. Because I like to do that. And I'm just gonna like come in here and grab all of these, and I'm going to put them in here, and I'm going to say export. Export all of these constants. Oops. All right. And then this is just how I don't know, I prefer to do it this way. And then in here, I'm going to import everything that I need from let's see what else pops up there. Let's set category. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Why not? What else we got in there? I just want to get all these constants. I need the store name. I need the. Yeah, do I have default state? No, default state. I'm gonna grab that, which is a bit silly because it's like an empty object. But anyway, so default state, set word count. Let's go. Store name. Yep. Default state. Set word count. Set featured image. Set featured image. And then I'm gonna replace it down here wherever that thing goes. So it looks like we're missing fetch settings. I'm gonna pull in fetch settings like that. And nothing else is young. Oh, so that needs to be, oops, needs to be featured image. And then I think that's all we need. So we shouldn't see any errors in here. Oh, we are. Let's see. Refactoring is fun. Let's see what's yelling at me here. Get settings. Let's see her there. Nope. It's not super helpful, is it? Probably need to actually import it correctly. Import constants from data store. Constants. Maybe that's the problem. That seemed to work. We just had the pathing thing going on. Let's see, it's still. I'm breaking everything. Why am I breaking everything? Oh my lord, I'm breaking all the things. Okay, in data store. Settings. Text type. Oh my god, what have I done now? Oh, of course I gotta refactor everything and I break it. Okay, so index. Let's check. Do I have the data? The data store is actually there. State from database. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So that's working. So let's look at categories. Oh, nope. Let's look at word count. All right. Store name is from constants. I think that's going to be the issue, and I think that's the issue. Okay. So I wonder if maybe what I should do is instead of yeah, that's fine. Okay, and I'm probably gonna have to do the same for my featured image. I'm gonna have /constants. Categories probably is something in there for constants too. There we go. All right, let's look here. All right, category, yeah. Okay, save that, refresh. Okay, that's working, that's working. Okay, cool, so I have unbroken that. So that's cool. I'm gonna do another one in here called components. And then I'm gonna move out there. I'm gonna move settings screen. Yep. I'm gonna move word count, featured image, categories all into components. Sure. And then settings section can also go to components. Okay, so I don't actually know if this is gonna work, but let's just see if, nope. Something couldn't find something. Index, components, settings screen. Let's go to the settings screen. Oh, I have to save all these. That's what I haven't done. Oops, no, I'm gonna save that. Okay, so hopefully all those things, of course they didn't import. Oh, what's this? Category, okay. Settings, this has got to be fun for everyone watching. Settings screen, I need to import from, okay. Category, what was this? Right? Queries, I don't have anything. Let's do this for now. Oh, come on. And then, what is the oh, let's look at my build here. What are we doing here? Can't resolve category in settings screen. So settings screen. Close all these. Settings screen. Can't find settings screen from, oh, it's from here. Right? Okay. Still. Data store component. Where is that not resolving? What the deuce? Can't resolve data in components. Featured image. That didn't really work. Let's just go category, make sure I can find. That doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, all right. There, that looks much better. Okay, so yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. So that was fun to watch, I'm sure. Zadar, yes, it is definitely. You move one, I move one thing and I break everything. And then I immediately forget how to JavaScript entirely. And I'm like, what is wrong? I don't know. And that is, and especially when I have people watching me. So there's that. Okay, great. So I'm going to call that good to go. So we have our settings has handled everything and we're good to go. Okay. So the whole point of this thing was this, we have this now. So I think I'm going to I think this is as far as I'm going to take this particular part. I'm doing this for, this is a shameless plug, but I'm going to be speaking at WordCamp Europe this year. I'm very excited. If you can come say hi. I'm doing a workshop and we're doing a pre-published checklist and this is part of it. So I'm building this part out. Now I kind of want to start working on the sort of the front end of it and getting that going. So let's do that. So I don't know, you may or may not remember this, but I did a stream a while back where we actually did a pre-published checklist and we did it right here. And so what I want to do is we have our admin screen in here, and now we want to add basically our plugin where we're going to handle dealing with, like, actually handle registering, controlling whether or not the post can be actually updated or published or saved or whatever. So I'm going to take this code and I'm going to get it working so we can use our store, which will be available to us, and we can go from there. So to do that, I think what we need to do now is I'm going to actually, this is going to be fun. I'm going to create a new folder in here and call it admin, and I'm going to put all of this stuff inside the admin. And then in our script right here, I think what I need to do is go admin index.js. And then I'm going to do a folder, I'm going to call it plugin. And then I'm going to put an index file, index. Ooh. LeBland Monster, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm just gonna do an alert in here, and this is gonna be for our plugin. Plugin PLG. Plugin loaded. Yeah, why not? Okay. So I think if I remember, so let's look at the scripts package. If we look at the scripts package, no, you can define multiple. You can define multiple entry points. And it's fairly straightforward. We're not doing anything with blocks. We're not doing anything with like detecting we're not doing anything where we have to detect a block.json. We just want to build two separate things and have two separate outputs, basically. That's kind of what we want. And that's kind of, this is it here. So we can see so we call start, and then we have entry1.js, entry2.js. So I'm going to kind of do that. I'm not going to customize the out path. I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to go plugin index.js. Now, hopefully, if I come back here and I'm just going to clear this, and I'm going to run this again. Hopefully, this will plugin index. Okay, I can't find it. So let's see. First of all, what did it do in the build? Is it doing a single build? Interesting. Oh, I wonder if I have to do it from inside the source directory. Let's what am I doing? Let's try that. So if I go src, sorry, src slash, I go src slash, let's see what that does. Okay, so that found a single entry point. Okay, so it found the first entry point, but it didn't find the second one. Let's look over here. It's not. Huh, that's okay. Why am I getting an error here? It's like it's completely not finding it. Maybe, oops. What? Let's see what happens if I get rid of the plugin. Will it find it? This is weird. I don't know why I'm doing something wrong. So that worked. That worked, right? Give me my build, yeah. So why is it overriding that? I mean, I guess we could do something like we could work on these as separate features. We could do that too. Like I could do like, you know, start plugin, which maybe I'll just do that for now. And then just do plugin. And then, oh, but then that's gonna override my build. So I think I need to do an output. I think it's like that. It's output path, yeah. So if I go output path equals build, this is getting weird. Settings, and then output path is build plugin. I hope it's going to just leave everything in there. Start plugin. Did you mean to? Oh, yeah. Okay, so that built that out there. So let's look in here. So in here we've got plugin. Okay, so now let's run start settings and just make sure that doesn't override our destroy everything in build. Okay, it doesn't look like it did. Okay, cool. I'm gonna just delete this build folder, and I'm just gonna run both those commands again. That's anything. I should just do a build version. Plugin, and cool. All right, so now let's see. So in here we've got plugin, we've got settings. That's cool. So now we're gonna have to come back in, and we're going to have to look at our Enqueue stuff, and this is gonna actually be for settings, right? And this would also be settings. So this is gonna enqueue our settings stuff, right? Cool. So we've got that. We've got that. I think it should all work. Does that all make sense? What I was just doing? Okay. So this seems to be working. Our JavaScript is getting where it needs to be. Sweet. Cool. I'm gonna take a drink of my coffee here. Cool. So now we have that. So that's a little odd to me. I don't like how this is happening. I wonder if it's, yeah. Anyways, well, that's just what it is. So the other thing we're gonna need to do here now is I'm gonna need to do build versions of these, because we should just do build versions of these, and then we can do like a build, and then build. We'll just do it this way. We'll say build, and then build the settings, and then build the plugin, and this is going to be like our final, like our build process, our final build. So this is going to build just the settings. This is going to build just the plugin, and then this is going to build both. That's the idea. You can't really. We could do. There's a concurrently package that you can do if you wanted to have both of these running. It'll run both these things concurrently, which is kind of neat. I mean, whatever. Can add that in, I guess, later. Cool. So we've got our min. We're going to leave that be. We've got our plugin. So our plugin isn't super helpful here. But what we want to do is we're going to want to get that enqueued. So we're going to enqueue. We're going to add an action. Going to enqueue. Oh, if I can spell it right. Our enqueue the plugin. Okay. So we want to run this. We're going to add action. We're going to say this is in the block. Editor assets, and I can never remember this, so let's look in here. Yeah, enqueue block assets. What is that right? Is that right? I do this every time to enqueue block assets. So that's, yeah, I guess that's right. I don't know why it feels wrong to me, but it is indeed right. So enqueue block assets. So this is the hook that we would want to, that we need to call when we want to enqueue something inside the block editor, which is exactly where this or the site editor for that matter as well. Why is that yelling at me? Why is it yelling at me? Why are you being dumb? Okay, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, so when we register a block, this is actually the hook where your editor script is enqueued to, or via. But it's all done sort of, it's done auto-magically for you. So this is not, so we have to handle this ourselves. So we're going to use basically this same sort of, we're going to use pretty much this same code. The idea being that we're going to look for our assets file. This is not a page, it's a path, right? And then we're going to check and see if in our build plugin directory we have an index.asset.php file, which we should. This is going to handle all of our dependencies and our versions and all that stuff. And then if this file exists, we don't need this suffix anymore, because this only gets called when we're in the block editor. We may want to remove it. We may want to see how this handles the site editor. In fact, we probably will. So we'll have to just kind of see what that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, if that file exists, we're going to do this, and then we're going to pre-publish settings script, pre-publish plugin script. It's going to give it a different name. We're going to put it in plugin. And so we'll have assets that requires this, and then we'll have access to the dependencies and the versions. And now once it's set up, it should be enqueued. And anytime we start to import new things, the dependencies will be updated, and we don't need to worry about doing that. I had a really interesting conversation with someone around this logic. Like, why is this check in place? And why would there ever be a case where you didn't want this to fatal? I'm kind of two. So what's going to happen here is if this is a thing, or if this didn't exist and you tried to require this asset file and you hadn't built the plugin yet, you're going to get a fatal, because require basically said in PHP it requires that file is added, and if it doesn't, it white screens. So the reason I don't do that is because I personally don't like white screen as your error. You should be able to handle that a little bit better. Now, that being said, this isn't critical. Like, it just won't work, right? So you could just use include here, but this to me feels a little bit nicer. I mean, if I was really being verbose about it, I would probably do like a whatever, like debug log or whatever. No, what is it? Error log. I'd probably error log out to the console, or not the console, to your error log, so you would see something. But anyways, it's something to think about. This isn't strictly necessary to do that file exists checks, but I kind of like it personally. Let me know if you disagree. Happy to discuss it. Cool. All right, so we got that. So now I come back over here. We shouldn't see anything happen, but if I come over to the post and I add a new one, we still don't see anything happening. Why is that? Okay, so let's look. Okay. Enqueue block at what is that? What I'm doing? Block editor assets. Remember when I said I didn't think that was the right hook? I think that is not the right hook. Okay, let's try this. I bet that's the one. That's it. Okay, so apparently I don't even know the name of the hook I'm supposed to be calling. Okay, so now we know that our plugin is loading, so we can close this down. I'm going to just close down the rest of the stuff, and then in our source, we need to do a couple of things. We're going to need to, if we just look at what we did here, the first thing that we're going to need to do. What happened there? Okay, is we're going to need to import, and it's going to be meshes in the way, register plugin from WordPress plugins, right? And if we look at this, you can see down here, we're gonna call this, right? And this is going to be and then we need a component to render, basically. So I can just return null here for now, right? So this is going to be the component that gets rendered. Now we're going to see anything here. So maybe what's the best way to do this here? I think I'm gonna grab fragment. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to grab plugin document settings panel, and all right, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So this will work. It will be loaded. We won't see it, but oh, I'm not building anything. Okay, let's try that again. So this is definitely working. We can confirm it if we want by coming into WP plugins. We can check on here and we say get plugins. All right, we can call this. We should be able to see that we've got. So here is our stream meta. Don't know what that is, but that's a plugin. But this is the plugin that we just registered. So it's in there. It just has no visual aspect to it. We can add one, and we may want to because we may want to add like a sidebar, like a settings panel in here to sort of say, hey, you know what, you need to do some things. So we'll get there. But first, what we want to do is we need to hook up into our data store, right? So we want to, we're going to want to, I wonder if I need to register. What if I just need to import the store? Import, admin data store. I wonder if that it's an interesting thing. So if I go to Redux and I look for the store, I don't think my pre-published checklist store, it's not there. So we need to have it available to us. And then if I refresh this now, we should right there. So there's our pre-published checklist store. We look at our state. There's nothing because we haven't actually initialized anything yet. Cool. So we're gonna pull the store into the plugin, right? So this is gonna get it available to us, and then we should not there. We should be able to, like, in our settings panel here. No, sorry. What am I doing? In our settings screen, we should be able to call this. All right. So right here, we should be able to get this, and hopefully we got a console.log of our settings from state. Oh, I need to import use state. Sorry, or use select. Import use select from WordPress data. I also need to import store name from there, and then this will, I'll need that right now. So this should, hopefully this should get us all the state, and then we should be able to see it, and then we can start using this. And there we go. So this was our empty state object, and now eventually it all resolves, and now we've got this. So we now have our state to work with when we're trying to determine whether or not we have enough words, for example, right? So that's going to be the thing. So I have to remember how to do all this stuff now. So we're going to use this, get this use select stuff. Okay, so this is what we're going to pull. So we're just going to use select from the, I'd say custom store, and then we're going to go, oops. Copy paste to fail. There we go. So we're gonna pull this in. So we should be able to. So this will get us all the blocks. We're not using it. We're not using tags right now. So I'm gonna get rid of that. So this should get us the blocks, the categories. I'm gonna just name that right. RES. So not with two S's, with a single one, and then that'll be there, right? So we get blocks, things, and then I guess I was doing this on a use effect, wasn't I? So let's pull in use effect from here. We're only really using use effect at this point, so I'm not going to mess with the state stuff. I set up a use effect hook. I'm going to do it over here. Oops. Use effect, and then come on. Yep. And then, okay. And then we're going to set this on blocks right now, because blocks is what we're going to be using to check the word count. What did I paste in there? Okay. All right. So in here, in our use effect, we're going to, I see what we're doing here. Okay. We're gonna do it this way. I think I need count from word count, so I'm gonna import that. And this is a package that's available like in WordCount. It's what actually powers the word counter in Gutenberg anyways. So I'm gonna pull that in. This is the wrong file, and then I want to basically check this thing and get the word count in here. I'm going to in my use effect, I'm gonna simplify this a little bit. I don't want to filter these right now. This is something that maybe we'll get into later, but the idea here was this is only going to It's only going to count the words that are in paragraph blocks. So there's a couple of blocks that like, so any words on the page will basically get counted. So things like the what am I saying? The caption for an image. You may or may not want to count those. So that's what this was sort of doing, and we can get into that kind of stuff later. But we're just going to serialize blocks, which I'm realizing now that I need to import serialize, which is from, where's that from? From the blocks thing. The blocks package. That's the technical name, the blocks thing. And then hopefully anytime the blocks change, or you add a block, you update a block, whatever, we should get a console log for word count. So let's set that up so we can look at it. Gonna clear that. And hopefully, yeah, it's also console logging out something in my, there we go. So now anytime the blocks change, we're going to get a word count, right? So we're going to say this is a word. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. And we've got 5 words. So that's that. And then we need to introduce our logic. And the way that I was doing it, it looks like was basically here. So I'm going to grab. Oh, I have a bunch of dispatch stuff going on. So I'm going to use some of these tools, or I'm just going to copy and paste some of this stuff. So I'm going to dispatch from a store, basically lock post saving and unlock post saving, enable publish sidebar and disable publish sidebar. So we'll see what the difference is, because if you lock the post saving, it didn't when I built this the first time. So we'll take a look, but it didn't seem to actually disable the publish. I think, yeah. So there was something that needed to be done there. So we'll play around with that. But right, and then basically all I was doing was doing some funky logic here, not there. Doing some funky logic where I was getting the word count. I was getting the featured image. I was setting what is it, lock post. I think I was setting it to false as a default, right? I'm gonna assume the best that we can do that. So then we're gonna, if the word count, so these are some constants, and we actually have this available to us now, right? So settings from state, we can actually destructure this out into whatever we call that, the data store, which I can't remember off the top of my head now. Constants. Oh, what did we call it? We called it word count. Go figure. We called it word count. So now if this word count, maybe I'm gonna call this current word count. If current word count is less than that, we're gonna lock the post, and then this stuff down here should basically this stuff will lock the post for us. So let's refresh this. Oh my God, what have I done? Okay, let's take a look here. Use dispatches not defined. Use dispatches. Oh, I didn't import it. Oh, that'll do it every single time. Use dispatch. Okay, let's try that again. Still? Why you guys to be like that? Word count is not. Oh, where am I using word count? Ugh. Rename all the things, and there we go. Okay, so we can see that this is not publishable now, right? So I am going to get the settings page open, pre-published checklist. I'm going to set the because I don't want to type out 8,555 words. I'm going to say we need a minimum of 4 words for our word count. I come back over here. Oh, I come back in here and I'm going to edit this. I'm going to give this is our pre-publish tester. Okay, save the draft. So you can see how many words do we have in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is not working. Okay. Let's see why this isn't working. This should not be locking. Oh wait, do I have the? Is it because of this the rest of this junk is locking it in here? Let's do that. I bet that's what it is. So, okay, so that. Okay, that's what it is, because I just copied and pasted and didn't think this through at all. Okay, so the idea is working. I don't know if I need that though. Let's just see. So there is, if I delete this, so I have 0 words, right? I have 1 word, 2 words, 3, 4, 4, and that's the limit that I set. So I have 4 words, right? What did I set it to? Minimum word count. Okay, so if I have 4 words, it's not published. If I go down to 3, it's now not publishable. Okay, I can get rid of this. Required. I thought that was something weird going on there. Okay, cool. All right, so that's gonna lock that. So now the next thing is, you can basically make sure that we have a featured image. If we don't have a featured image, we will. This is fine, right? Right, but when I refresh this, we can't publish it because I don't have a featured image. So if we add a featured image, I'm going to do this one. We are able to publish. But if we come down to only 3 words, there we go, right? But what we actually want to do is we want to see what's going on in our settings here. We're gonna get feature image. No, wait, that's not right. Where's our datastore? Our datastore. So we're gonna get acquired feature image. So we're gonna pull that out, and if this and required featured image, then we're gonna check that. So if we turn that off, this shouldn't be an issue anymore, right? So we have 3. We'll say 4. Get a featured image. We're gonna what? Oh, because we have it turned off. So I turn that on, I save it, and then now this should refresh. And even though we've got this, we still need our featured image. So that's cool. And now for categories, which I haven't really even checked categories. So this is basically, this is kind of funky. This isn't a control that I've set up yet. I'm gonna just do that. Oops. What am I doing? Do that. I'm gonna keep that for later. But basically, we just want to make sure there is a category, right? And then in here, we're gonna say required. Well, whatever I called it. That we need to if required category, and there's no categories set, then we're gonna lock that they're true. This logic was basically saying if I think 1 is uncategorized. That's the ID. David has a question. Not a big issue, but really, would it be a good idea to debounce input on the editor for performance, so you're not checking the word count continuously? It's not a bad idea. The only downside there is if we're, it's not just on typing. It's also like inserting and removing blocks. I'm not really sure how that's done. That's a really good. It's an excellent question, and there's a word count stuff going on in here. So if can we keep that open and have it work? No, we can't, of course. Like it's already like it might only count it when it's being rendered, which is probably a good thing too. So it's a great idea, David. I'm not against it at all. Yeah. We could abstract some of this stuff out into like a component that only gets rendered in certain places, but I kind of want it to be as live as possible, because as I'm typing, and if I'm say I'm in like full screen mode, where am I here? Right, and as I'm typing this is a sentence, and this is going to be why here. I'm gonna turn that off. Like I think it's cool, in my opinion anyways. I think it's cool to be able to, oh, you need to set the featured image. Set the featured image, save draft. Okay, cool. I think it's cool to be like writing in full screen mode and just be able to like, well, when do I have, there I go. I have enough words now. So like it happens automatically. I don't know. That's an excuse for not doing it, but that's what I'm going to go with for now. But it's a good idea. Performance is always a thing, especially if like there's a lot of content. This might become an issue. So it's definitely worth looking into. Cool. So I'm going to get rid of this. And yeah, so that's kind of the idea. So in here, we're actually not, like in our component, we're not returning and we're not doing anything visual yet, right? Which I think we should. I think we should introduce a panel that shows some things, right? Like in the example one that we did, we actually did a document setting panel, and displayed some stuff. So I mean, we could definitely do that. I'm gonna pull, where is that thing? From in here. Right, we can get a couple, one of these, and then what we'll do is in our return, we're going to return the plugin like this, and this is where, okay, this will be our user information, right? So now if we refresh this, open this up, we should have where'd that thing go? Oh, it's in the post. Isn't that there? Oh, I probably didn't give it, I'm sure it's there. I probably just didn't give it any information like this thing. Gonna add we're gonna give it a name, we're gonna give it a title, and why the heck is that doing that? Like that. Oh, we need to import. I'm so lazy. I just would rather copy and paste than try to type it all. So I'm just gonna do some of that stuff, and then I don't know what I can't remember what our translation text domain is in here. Pre-post checklist. So I'm gonna put this over here. So this should now have a panel in the sidebar, and if we click on this, there we go. I don't know if you saw that briefly or not, but it's right here, pre-post checklist, and so we can put all our information in here, and I think we actually did a lot of that work anyways. I'm gonna do a new components folder in here. I'm gonna just pretty much copy and paste and steal. We got so we need word count display. Okay, so we want this, we want this, and we want this. I'm going to copy that into my components, and I'm going to see how this works. I'm going to steal all of these and put them in here. We'll have to we're gonna have to refactor them a little bit. Oops. Move this stuff down here because we're not actually using this stuff. And then what do we do in our example here? Is this the example? This is the example. We basically just took this stuff and plunked it in here, and did that. And I don't even know what we're doing in any of this stuff. Oh, let's look. Anyways, let's just plunk it in and see what happens. That'll be fun. And then we want the required word count needs to go in here. It looks like I have a required word count, and then I have oh, that's not available there, is it? I'll do it this way. So settings.word count, and then how did I do that in here? The word count display. Oh, set word. Oh, that's what I did. Okay, so I have a set word count display thing in here. Remember, I'm using state. All right, that might be. Yeah, I'll do that for now. So I'm gonna use some internal state management to be able to pass this stuff around. Where is that? Use states from element. Use state, and then let's just set that in here after I do the check. Where am I doing that? Right. word count do, and then down here this should all reconnect. So who knows what this is going to do, but we're going to see in a second. Oh, it's always good when it doesn't break immediately. Oh, it did break immediately. Can't resolve word count display in plugin. Okay. Oh, right. Because it's in components. All right, let's try. Okay, that looks like it worked. Let's do this. Okay, so we've got, okay, cool. So in here we've got our featured image, check. Our categories cannot include uncategorized. So I think I'm gonna need to look at some of these things, right? We're gonna see, so please assign a category, cannot include uncategorized. So this is a little bit more, okay, so this is kind of duplicating some logic here, I think. And it would be good not to do that. So in the meantime, I'm just going to get rid of this because that's not something that we have, or is it? Right. Okay. So I think what we should do here is we'll do a little magic like this, and we'll say if settings dot required, where is that thing is called here? I'm sorry, where am I? Oh, this is where I want to do that. I got too many files open here. We want this. Okay, so I'm in here. I'm gonna say, I just want to, like, if we're not requiring a featured image, then we don't need to display this. So if I say settings dot and then I can output this. Right, like that. That's kind of what I want to do, because it doesn't, like, we'd have no business spitting this out if we don't care about whether or not we have a category. Why do we need to tell you that you have categories, right? So we can do something like that. So we come back over here now. You can see that, like, RGN 12. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at pronouncing things. Thank you for the follow. Very cool. So look, okay, cool. So now we have featured image. So if I come over here and I now required the category and I refresh this, I'm gonna just close this. How the hell can I close this? You can see that I don't have a category assigned now. But if I toggle off the requirement for a featured image, we will see we need a category but not a featured image. So that's kind of the idea there. Yeah, and so this is kind of done at this point. I mean, it's wired into our settings page. We could probably clean up some of these things. I'm not super happy with this kind of stuff. Like, this is a little bit, well, that's not bad. Actually, I should be translating some of these things. This logic's probably fine. It's just more, I want this to just basically display, and if it's locked, show the locked thing. If it's not locked, show the not locked icon. So that's kind of the idea of what I'm doing here. Just doing some inline styles. I'd probably do that a little bit different. All right, and so we can come over here. Now we can see what the word count is. When do this, yeah, and so we can see we have 3 words now, but which is not enough. Yeah. That's kind of, I think that's kind of, it's noon. So I think that's kind of where I want to go with this. Where is this? I'm going to just not make any changes to that. Yeah, well, I think I'm going to call it. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me today, and we finished this thing. I'll talk to you next time, my friends. Thanks. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content about Gutenberg and WordPress development.